Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you guys are doing fabulous. I'm doing well, thank you so much for asking. And as you can tell from the title of this video, I'm here to film my birth story. And no birth story would be complete without a throw up stain. My daughter literally, well, she didn't throw up, but she drooled a bit and some milk came out. And now she's nursing on the second side because hashtag mom life. But yeah, this is my birth story. Our daughter was born June 7th, 2019, and it went kind of sort of something like this. So the night before I actually went into labor, I had posted on Instagram and I was like, look how big I'm getting. This baby ain't coming, like just poking fun at the fact that my daughter was just not trying to be born today, or that day rather. So I went to bed, and about 3:45 a.m. I woke up, and I was just going to the restroom, and when I wiped, there was some blood there, and I was like, oh my God, it's a bloody show, it's happening. And then about a couple of hours later, I'm disturbing her feeding time. And then about a couple of hours later, my mucus plug came out. And in my previous pregnancy, when my mucus plug came out, I did not go into labor right away. So I didn't think that I would be having the baby that day. So I just went, about, my life at like 5:30 in the morning. And then around like 5:30, I would say, I started to have stronger contractions. I had been having contractions in the days previous, but they weren't like really strong ones. So I knew that I wasn't in active labor and like nothing was about to happen. So I really didn't pay them too much mind. But about 5:30, 5:45, I start to like really feel. I started to really feel like stronger contractions. They were about 15 minutes apart, but they felt like they were getting strong. They weren't too long. I did have the thing on my phone, the app on my phone where you can like time the contractions and like how far apart they were and how long they were. So they weren't super strong, but they were very different from the ones I had been experiencing in the days prior. So I told my husband, I'm like, I don't think you should go to work today. I think you should stay home. And at that point, I just started texting my friends and family, like, I think today may be the day. Mind you, our toddler had a fever for 2 days. And that morning, she was up all through the night. Early hours in the morning, she's up with us because she has this fever. It's like 102. I'm like, this is insane. Like, I'm about to go into labor, or I'm in labor. My toddler has a fever. And then my son has like finals and he has school this week. So I'm like, I don't want to change anything about their routine. I just want to make sure my toddler, feels okay. And I didn't want to like alarm the children. I wanted everything to feel as normal as possible. So my son went off to school that morning. I didn't really say anything about like, oh, I think I'm gonna have the baby right now. I was just like, have a great day at school. And at that point, I'm still having contractions. They're irregular. So I told my husband, like, let's just go for a walk. Like, you took this day off of work. Let's get some things happening. So we take our daughter out. Mind you, she has a fever. We go for a walk. It's pretty warm outside at this point, and I'm like, maybe we should just go inside because she's already warm with the fever. Even though we had given her like fever reducer and stuff like that, she was still pretty warm. So we decided to go back to the car, and in New York City they have alternate side parking. So I'm like, let me move my car now, so if I do go into like active labor, I don't have to worry about that because my husband doesn't drive. So we moved our car to the other side of the street, and on our walk we ended up going to the grocery store, and we got like some watermelon, and then my husband also went to the store to get me something to eat, and also we were trying to get our daughter to eat. So we got food, we moved the car, we got our daughter to eat some watermelon, and at that time it's like noon. My contractions are getting stronger, and I'm like, listen, this is really happening today. So we called my mother-in-law, my husband's mom, and we're like, listen, my MJ is sick. We don't want to take her to the birthing center and risk her like getting other families sick, or like, you know, getting the baby sick. So like, can you come to our house and keep an eye on her, because we are gonna start getting ready to, you know, have a baby. So she's like, sure, great. So my mother-in-law does not get off of work until about 5. My son gets home from school around 3:45. So in my brain, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the birthing center at 3:45. That's when we're gonna leave the house when my son gets home. So mind you, I had already prepared laundry the day before to do. So I'm like, I'm gonna get this laundry done. So my husband goes to take the clothes to the laundry to wash them, and I'm home in labor with the toddler, trying to remain as calm and as, you know, not frantic as possible, because I don't want to alarm her. She wants to lay down with me and cuddle and nap. I just want to walk around and bounce on my birthing ball. So I end up laying down with her. I'm not napping, but she's trying to nap and cuddling with me. My husband finishes the laundry. Mind you, I had not packed my bag to take to the hospital yet. So I'm like running around trying to pack my bag. I'm putting away laundry. And this is all kind of keeping my mind off of the contractions and the pain that I'm feeling. And also, like I said, my daughter's there. I don't want to alarm her. So I'm doing all of these things. My son finally gets home from school. And at this point, I'm like, these contractions are strong. They're about 5 minutes apart. I'm bouncing on my ball. I'm just trying to compose myself. I call my sister-in-law. She's like, okay, I'm gonna meet you guys at the birthing center. We let our teenager know, like, listen, you know, Nana is coming in a little while. Just keep your eye on your sister, you know, make sure everything's okay. You know, he's 15. He's very capable of watching his sister. And at this point, we call it Uber, which we call an Uber to go to the birthing center. And at this point, it's rush hour. So the Uber is hella expensive. It costs us $50. You okay? So it costs us about $50 to take this taxi to the birthing center. I'm leaving my house. It's a really beautiful day outside. My neighbors are outside on their stairs, and everyone's like, oh, hey, it's go time. I see you guys look like you're going to the hospital. And I'm trying to be calm. I'm like, yeah, we're going to go have the baby. And as I'm getting in the taxi, I'm also trying to be calm, because I don't want this taxi driver to think that like I'm going to give birth in his car and like he doesn't want to take us, or like my water's going to break in there. And mind you, we had taken a towel with us, because I'm like, I want to sit on the towel, because even though my mucus plug had came out, I still was spotting a little bit, and you know, like in labor, like there are liquids and things that are happening. So I took a towel to sit on, but I did not want this taxi driver to think that I was going to give birth in his vehicle. So I'm like, oh, hi, you know, yeah, we're going to go have a baby. We're going to the birthing center, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so, you know, try and get there fast. Try and get there fast, but also I'm not going to give birth in your vehicle. So the whole time we're in the vehicle, I'm like trying to maintain my composure, because I don't want to alarm the taxi driver. And also, my husband does not do good in stressful situations. Like, it stresses him out even more, and then he's no good. So I'm trying to stay calm. And then also, before I left the house, I asked my husband to wet a washcloth and make it really, really cold. One, so I can put it on my head, and also I was going to use it as a way to kind of keep me together and composed as I was going through each contraction. So literally, as I was going through each contraction, what are you laughing at? As I was going through each contraction, I'm like biting down on this cloth just so that I don't scream out in agony. So I have this cloth, I'm biting down on it, I'm holding my husband's hand. The taxi driver is going as fast as he can, but it's rush hour, so there's traffic. What would normally take about 30 minutes driving took about an hour. So we get to the birthing center. My sister-in-law is already there. There's already a family there who's birthing, and they have like cousins and kids and aunts and uncles. So like it's packed in there. Oh, look, I skipped a part of the story. When I called the birthing center to let them know that I was coming, I was like, my contractions are 5 minutes apart. And she's like, you want to tell the story? I'm like, my contractions are 5 minutes apart. She's like, oh, and this is your third child? I'm so surprised you're calling now. You probably should have called earlier. So when I get to the birthing center, at this point, my contractions are like 3 minutes apart. They are super, super strong. They're like, okay, let's check you. So before they check me, I'm like, I really have to pee. Like, I have to pee. So I walk into the bathroom, and as soon as I go to pull down my pants, there's like a gush of water. So my water breaks. There's water all over the place. Mind you, the other lady's birthing. Her kids are like in the hallway. Like, it's crazy. So there's just water all over the floor, and I'm apologizing. I'm like, I'm so sorry. They're like, don't apologize. Like, this happens all the time. It's birth. But me, I'm just like so apologetic. They finally get me into the triage room, and you know, they check me, and I'm about 7 centimeters or 7.5 centimeters dilated. And they're like, okay, so you're definitely in active labor. So they get me to my room. They get me all set up. And at this point, I'm like in pain, but I'm still maintaining my composure. I had already decided prior to, you know, going into delivery and thinking about how I wanted my delivery to be. I just wanted it to be quiet. I didn't want to scream. I didn't want to yell. I had my beats. I had my husband put some music on for me, and I'm listening to it in my beats. I'm bouncing on a birthing ball, and every time there's a contraction, I'm just like squeezing his hand or squeezing my sister-in-law's hand, just trying to work through it. So at this point, the contractions are just getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Mind you, I've only been at the birthing center for like maybe 30 minutes at this point. So I'm like, I need somebody to come and check me. Mind you, the lady next door, she's pushing, and then moments later you hear a baby cry. So I'm like, the midwives are over there occupied with her baby has come out, you know, they have other people who are coming in to be checked. Like, it was just a really busy day there, and I'm just like, I really need someone to come and check me because my contractions are getting stronger. So they lay me down, and they're like, oh, you're about 8.5 centimeters dilated. Or they're like, do you want to get in the water? I'm like, yeah. So they turn on the water's filling up. I'm still having contractions, and they're like, you know, the water's not ready. This is a huge tub, and like the water's like coming out so slow to me, and I'm just like, hurry up, like, because I just feel like if I get into the water, at least that'll be some relief to my body. Like, it'll help me get through these contractions. So finally the water fills up. They're like, it's the perfect temperature. I start walking to the bathroom. I'm like ripping off my clothes as I'm walking, and then I turn to look at my husband and sister-in-law, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to make it, y'all. And I've tried my best, and my sister-in-law is like, no, you going to do this. And I'm like, okay. So we walk into the bathroom. I get in the bathtub. This water is so hot. Like, it's just so hot. But I just submerged myself in the water. My body got comfortable, and I'm like, I'm about to push. And it wasn't that I wanted to push. My body was telling me it was time to push. And I'm telling my husband, I'm telling my sister, I'm like, somebody go and get a midwife because I'm pushing. They came into the bathroom. They checked me again. They was like, oh my God, this is her head. Like, just that quick from me taking off my clothes, walking to the tub, she had dropped and she was already ready to come out. So at this point, I'm like, I don't have this towel in my mouth anymore. Through each contraction, I'm just like screaming and pushing. And the midwife looks me in my eyes and she's like, stop screaming. And I'm like, what should I do? And she's like, channel all of that energy into you pushing so that you can meet your baby. So at this point, I just squeeze onto the railings of the tub. I'm also holding my husband's hand in one hand, and I'm just like pushing, and I'm just like trying to get this baby out, not screaming. And then they're like, oh my God, it's the head, it's so much hair, reach down and touch your baby. I'm like, I can't. And they're like, yes you can. I'm like, no, I just want to hold my baby. And I gave one more giant push, and they were like, reach down and grab your baby. And I reached down in the water and I pulled her up, and it was just like the most amazing thing ever. Like, I'm like, my baby, you know, all, you know, crying and happy and just like so elated that she's actually here. And I was so happy in that moment. You know, you don't think about any of the pain, you don't think about any of the, you know, the things that happened prior. You're just in that moment and you're like, oh my God, I did it, she's here. And that was my birth story.